In a time before time. In the time of the gods and not of men. There once was Zeus, who was the son of Kronos, the time. And of Rhea the Fluxus, the queen mother. Zeus became the god of gods and the great father of force and order. He was the personification of power. He became so powerful that not even his father, Time, could eat him. Zeus had the gift and the habit of disguising himself as other beings. He usually did this to seduce and deceive people. He was always driven by a great passion. Once, Zeus disguised himself as a bird to attract and deceive his sister, Hera. He also disguised himself as a swan to seduce Leda. Once, he transformed himself into a beautiful white, blue-eyed bull and kidnapped and raped Europa to have his children with her. Zeus even transformed himself into a golden rain that penetrated Danae's body to conceive the famous hero Perseus. Once, he disguised himself as a shepherd and conquered his aunt, the Titan Mnemosyne, Memory, daughter of Uranus, who is heaven, and Gaius, who is earth. They stayed together for 9 nights, giving birth to their 9 daughters, the Muses. The Muses are personifications of the arts and sciences, of memory and narrative, and were in charge of singing the victories, the beauties and divine acts that would make humans forget anxiety and sadness, and inspire them to great deeds. The house temple where they lived, the Mouseion, was on top of Mount Parnassus and was a place dedicated to the worship and contemplation of each muse's craft. Euterpe was the guardian of music and lyric poetry. Eratus, of the erotic verses. Melpomene and Thalia, of tragedy and comedy, respectively. Polymnia was in charge of sacred music and geometry. Terpsichore, of singing and dancing. Urania, astronomy and astrology. Clio was the guardian of history, and Calliope was the guardian of oral literature. These two were known as the favorite daughters of Zeus and Mnemosyne. Clio had a serene physiognomy, a frank look, and an incomparable beauty. She carried in one hand the stiletto of writing, and in the other, the trumpet of fame. Then she began to attribute notoriety to everything she sang, becoming the most prestigious of the museum's inhabitants, and leaving her sister Calliope in her shadow. In the time of men, and no longer of gods, Clio was elected Queen of the Sciences, confirming her gift of recording the past and having the authority of speech over facts, people and dates, pointing out what and how something should be remembered, recorded and celebrated. Orality was losing space to history, which claimed to give veracity to what was narrated because it became a documentation, and these documents could be organized, stored, archived. And writing ended up becoming the favorite resource for the transmission of knowledge. In this way, Clio, history, surpassed even the importance of her mother, memory. There are many interesting points in the stories about the Mouseion on Mount Parnassus that help us understand how the programming of the museum was already inscribed in it, since its mythical conception. For example, despite being created to be a place of creativity and leisure, its patron was Apollo, the lord of pure reason, and not Dionysus, his brother, ruler of freedom, games and pleasure. This to me is, to say the least, curious. But the most important thing I want to emphasize here is that Clio, the muse of history and science, who divulges and celebrates great achievements, is often evoked for being the daughter of Mnemosyne, and it is very easy to understand why so many people say that she got from her mother the gift of remembrance. But people don't often emphasize the fact that she is also the daughter of Zeus, the highest authority on Olympus and the owner of power, law and order. Zeus, the one with the gift of ideological falsehood, who metamorphoses his voice and appearance to seduce and deceive other people and other gods. Zeus is, then, the bearer of power, and exercises it through the control of the narratives over himself, by pretending to be something else, and also over others, by dissuading and deceiving to get what he wants. History Science, Clio, This privileged inhabitant of the Mausoleum, or museum, does have attributes inherited from her mother, memory, but I want to emphasize the point here, that she expresses herself in the manner of her father, power. For me, this is an aspect that cannot be lost sight of. Because I have found that this is the reason why archives archive.